Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers and Facebookers, social media all across the nation. Uneducated Network presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. Today we have some good news in the NBA, also have NFL news as well. So let's start off with the big news for today with the NBA. Out the blue, the Portland Trailblazers, and we're talking CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, have both said they have reached out to no other than Carmelo Anthony of the New York Knicks, saying that he will be a great addition to their team. And they even went on and said we will be a top 3 squad in the West if we can get Carmelo on this team. And it had me thinking for a second. You mix Carmelo in with CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard. Look, this team can score with the best of them. We know that. Their problem is defense. And you know me, I am not the biggest fan of Carmelo Anthony when it comes down to his defense as well. You might be able to score, but you will not be able to stop anybody. And if your goal is to win an NBA championship, because you will add Carmelo Anthony to your team, that means you're saying that we want to win the NBA championship. That is our goal. You still got to get past the Golden State Warriors. How you get past the Golden State Warriors? Well, you just can't go tick-for-tack with scoring with these guys. That's their problem. They need defense in the baddest way. They need front court. And I'm not talking small forward front court. I'm talking power forward and center front court play, because we all know that backcourt is excellent. They have a great backcourt. You're talking CJ McCollum, you're talking Damian Lillard, and then if you do add a Carmelo Anthony, that's the small forward, but he's probably the smallest front court, which is the small forward position. That being said, in my opinion, I don't like it. If he goes, yes, it brings more excitement to the West, and that West is already crowded. Top 3, that's probably being exaggerating just a little bit. Top 3, they would not be top 3 in that class at all. They will most likely be probably 6 or 7. That West is just crazy dominant, man. So now, would it make a great story? Yes, it would. It would be. Would it be a great fresh start for Carmelo? Yes, it would be. But I don't think his interest is in Portland. And when I say that, I mean I think Carmelo's more he's on the business side of his life now. So if he does go somewhere, it has to be something, fascinating. Houston, H-Town, very popular city in Texas. Everything's bigger and better in Texas, and why not go to Houston? That's where it's at. He's not going to Cleveland. There's not enough juice in Cleveland. I've always said this. Not enough free agents are going to go to Cleveland to help them change. It won't happen. No big name free agent. Kevin Love traded. Kyrie Irving drafted. LeBron drafted. So let's just say that LeBron went back for his own purpose, yes. But besides that, no one's going to Cleveland. Like I said, is it a city? I'm not sure. But Portland is almost like it's a great city. I've heard it's a great city out there in the Northwest, and I would personally love to go out there myself one day. But Carmelo going to Portland, I don't see it really happening. I don't see him letting go of his no trade clause to go to Portland. Now, they have the draft picks, yes, and they have the pieces, I guess you could say, for New York to have a good trade in with, but I don't think Carmelo's going to waive his no trade to go to Portland. So, hey, if I'm Portland, I'm trying to pitch the same thing, because what do you have to lose? If you're Portland, what do you have to lose? You have one NBA title in your franchise history, that dates back to the 70s with Luke Walton. So, I mean, you have nothing to lose. So go out there and pitch a Carmelo Anthony and see what happens. Anything can happen. You throw out a couple draft picks and then, hey, Carmelo's your man. But if you're talking about getting Carmelo because you want to win a championship, and that's the only reason why you would get him, because your fan base is already going to be, the fan base in Portland is already crazy. They love their Trailblazers. No matter what happens, that fan base isn't going anywhere. So you're not trying to appease the fans. The fans got your back already, or bring in more fans. No. You want to win a championship, and you have to have defense, because you could score. I've seen them play. They played the Warriors tough in that sweep they got. They got swept, but they played them very tough in at least 2 of those games. And could have won, but they don't have any defense. And Carmelo won't bring you defense, especially in his stage of his career. They always say, well, in the Olympics, that's the Olympics. And when you're playing it around, you're surrounded by great players, LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, you want to go ahead and show out a little bit, because it's an ego thing, and you don't want to be the guy that everyone's clowning behind your backs. Well, now he goes to Portland, and still the NBA. He's still making his money. You really think he's going to play defense? No. So I don't see Carmelo going in. Let me know, do you think Carmelo Anthony is a good fit for the Portland Trailblazers? I want to hear your thoughts and your comments on that. Now, we want to talk about a couple of days ago, out the blue, Dave Gettleman, the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, got the axe, got fired. Why? Parquet? I don't know. It came out the blue because usually general managers don't get fired after the draft. They don't. They usually get fired as soon as the season ends or towards the ending of the season. That's when they get fired, when you say, okay, but you don't do it right after the draft. And these guys, the Panthers were just 2 years removed from being in the Super Bowl. Yet they didn't win it, but they were in the Super Bowl. They had a bad year, 6-10 year this year, but you can just blame the quarterback. Cam Newton had an off year ever since he went on that podium and said that he's not having fun in the NFL and, people hit too hard. Well, they started going down drastically, fast too, and it looked very, very bad. So you got to wonder what was actually the reasoning, because they really haven't come out and said a reasoning for getting fired. Now, they did get Christian McCaffrey, and they got Curtis Samuels in back-to-back rounds. Now, they're probably the same kind of player, so Christian is just way more explosive than Samuel, but are they bad because they wasted a second-round pick because they got the same guy? I'm trying to get things here because they signed Julius Peppers, who was once a Carolina Panther, and now he's coming back. They signed him, and they also signed, that's the big sign, but they lost Ted Ginn Jr., and they lost Philly Brown, who weren't really, they weren't really factors into the Carolina offense. But the best thing he did was protect Cam, not by the offensive line, but by running back committee or by getting Samuel. Now, remember the Patriots, Tom Brady, he throws to the running backs a bazillion times, and it always works. It's almost like a run play when you throw for 3, 4, 5 yards. It's like a run play, basically. And that right there will help Cam Newton out. You put short dinks and donks to Christian McCaffrey, and he'll take a 2-yard play and turn it to 20 like that. He didn't have those kind of weapons, and that's from being a general manager. You give him those kind of weapons, and I think he did that perfectly. So now I'm wondering, what was the reason? Was there issues going on with him and the president, or issues going on with him and the owner? I have no idea, but they basically spend right after the season to about July getting personnel in. Were they just not happy with the personnel? Because I can't see what's going on, because your main focus was to protect Cam Newton by, when he drops back, giving him something to throw to. Because when you have James Stewart's and you have Mike Tolbert, those guys aren't catching flat routes. They're not doing that. And they're only going for 2 yards, man, guaranteed. Now you got playmakers in the backfield that will help Cam Newton out. And, he's been sacked at least 33 times. Just about every year, or hit something like that. Some number, some crazy number. He's been hit a lot since he's been in this league. It might not be 33 sacks per year. That sounds too high, but he's been hit a lot, and some his fault. Quarterback draws, the quarterback run plays, those are the team's fault. But when you got a guy who's 6'6", 6'5", and 250 and can run like a gazelle, you want to kind of use him sometimes in that scenario. But it will limit his physical hits he take, and it will expose their offense for being better now. But they still need wide receiver help bad. They need it. Besides Benjamin, they really have nothing else. But Christian McCaffrey will make up for that. Curtis Samuel will make up for that. So it's very interesting why they will get him in this early. I don't get it. I would have to think that there's conflict within the organization. The reason why you get rid of a guy, a GM, this early into the, off season. You usually wait till the end of the season, the regular season. But only time shall tell. And sticking with football news, Mike Williams, the wide receiver, the number 7 overall pick to the Los Angeles Chargers, he might be having season-ending back surgery, which is a huge blow for the LA Chargers. Because here's the one thing. Yes, they said he hurt himself probably in his pro day or probably during the combine. They don't know. But he did such a great job of not showing anybody what was going on. Now, seeing from his Clemson days, I'm not going to say he's injury prone, but he is prone to injury. But he's a big target, and you want that, and you need that in Phillip Rivers. If he goes down, he was the one bright spot I thought that can make the Chargers relevant again. When I say relevant as in win-wise, because the Chargers over the last 3 or 4 years have had the closest losses ever. I won't give you a specific number, but they've had so many close losses, it's crazy. But they lack a playmaker at the wide receiver position. Someone who can just go get it. A go-getter. They haven't had one of those since like Keenan Allen or something like that. And, you know, Mike Williams was that guy, 6'6", 6'7", big frame, can get your first down when you need to, has good hands, can jump with the best of them. And he's having his back problems. He had an epidural a few weeks ago, and they thought it would get him ready for training camp. And they're still hoping, optimism that he can actually play in training camp and get ready for the regular season, but it's looking like it's not. And he might need season-ending back surgery. But you can't blame the player. Don't blame him. He's doing what he has to do to feed his family, to make himself wealthy. That's why he showed no ill hurt now. You got to wonder what the Chargers on their side, their evaluation of him. Like, did you guys not see this back problem? Like, that's why you have all those doctors. You pay all those doctors that big money. You pay physicians to come in and check those guys out to make sure they are A-OK. The one bright spot you can think of is, yes, he misses the whole entire season, but now you basically have 2 first-round talent picks for next year if you draft right next year, because he won't play at all. But Phillip Rivers it's got to be his do or die year, in my opinion, and he has to do something, because this could be the year where he kind of gets axed. He's him and Ben Roethlisberger, one of those great quarterbacks, are actually kind of fading now, mixing a little bit of Eli Manning. They're kind of fading a little bit with their overall numbers and their overall play. So, but you give them weapons. Eli got weapons. Ben Roethlisberger, he got weapons. They gave Phillip Rivers weapons, but now one of those weapons are being taken away. And Mike Williams, now you're back to the same old Phillip Rivers having no weapons again. You know what I'm saying? And that right there could hurt him this year. So they got to do something about that. I really, really hope he can play, but for the sake if he cannot play, sit him out, and just pray that you have a good year, because Chargers are always in the mix when it comes down to a regular season game. They just don't get blown out like crazy in every game. They're usually in most games. So. But I gotta see who was evaluating this back injury, because if it's been lingering since his combine or since his pro day, then you've had people test him out then. You've had people test him out. Or is he just that good where he told his body to shut up, let's get paid first, then let's start showing the injuries to our back, So I can't blame Mike Williams for that at all. Mike Williams is trying to feed his family, and he showed no ill towards his body, which got his draft stock very, very high, the number 7 overall pick. Well, that's a lot of money involved, so I don't blame him one bit. But the Chargers are kind of in rebuild mode, and it's going to set them back a lot further now. I kind of had hopes of them going 9-7, but with that loss, you got them, probably where they've been at, 7-9, 6-10 season. They've been in they're stuck in that mud for the last 3 or 4 years now. So that being said, give me your likes, thoughts, comments about Mike Williams. Do you think that is a blow to San Diego? And whose fault is that? Is it the Chargers' fault for not reevaluating his back? Because I can't blame the player. So let me know how you feel about Mike Williams and his back problem. So this is our show. Like, subscribe, comment. Check me out on Facebook. My name is Carlos Clayton. I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, if that helps. Check me out on Twitter at Carlos Clayton _ I repeat, at Carlos Clayton _ We got some good news, like I said. Get ready for the regular season coming up. I give my 32 for 32. That's basically 32 days before the regular season kicks off. I will give my reevaluation of every single team, from the 32nd team, the Cleveland Browns, to the first team, the New England Patriots. We will get that rocking and rolling. And guys, be ready, because we have a very good special about to happen in a few weeks. We will have our Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Uneducated Sports Talk about the fight, and we'll have a big panel, and we'll discuss our feelings, our emotions, and our reviews, and what we think will happen, and we'll give our winner and our loser. And it's going to be a blast. So be ready for that. There's going to be Uneducated Sports Talk presents the Mayweather and McGregor fight. It's going to be awesome. So just be ready for that in a few weeks, y'all. And next we'll give you more football news, more basketball news, a little bit of baseball news. Mike Trout versus Bryce Harper. That's amazing. That series has been going on. They had a great first game, and now it's on to the second game. So we'll talk more baseball news coming up next too. So be ready for that, you guys. And I hope you guys are enjoying Uneducated Network. Check that out. Please like and subscribe to the Uneducated Network. It is going down. We got it going. A little momentum riding in, but it's only the beginning. We will get bigger, better, brighter very, very soon. I guarantee you guys. So thank you for being patient. Thank you for those who subscribe to the Uneducated Network as well, man. So Uneducated Network presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and as always, sports fans, you know what it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.